Hey guys, welcome to Health Talks with Bokamoso Mthimkulu. Today I'm going to tell you guys more about asthma, how it develops in the body, and what the main triggers for asthma are. Alright, let's get into this video. So asthma is the temporary obstruction of air that flows in and out of the lungs, and is generally caused by chronic inflammation to the airways, which causes this obstruction in the lungs. Now, asthma can vary in severity, where some people may have mild asthma, which means they don't have many symptoms or attacks, where others may have severe asthma, where they have frequent symptoms and attacks. The immune system plays a huge role in the development of asthma. Now, the immune system's main role is to detect when something is wrong in the body. So if there is a toxin, say you are infected with a virus or bacteria or something, you get the flu. The immune system's main role is to detect that that virus or bacteria is in the body and then get rid of it. And in this process of getting rid of it, you get symptoms of swelling, warmth, fever, inflammation in that area. It does everything in its power to get rid of that toxin, that virus, or etc. But when you have a situation, and I'm going to use smoking, be it you are a smoker or secondhand smoking as an example. When you are a smoker or when you inhale smoke frequently, that is a toxin to the body, specifically the lungs. And so the immune system will pick up that there's something foreign in the body that is not meant to be here. And the first response is to get rid of that before it can cause any damage. But when you're constantly smoking or inhaling smoke, you are constantly keeping your immune system active, working, and trying to get rid of that toxin. And when that happens, your immune system doesn't distinguish between the toxin and your actual healthy lung tissue. And when this happens, you have that damage that can take place to both the toxin as well as your lungs. Now, when this happens, it's sort of like an autoimmune response. So immune system starts to attack you yourself instead of just the toxin. And in asthma, you have three things that happen. So you have this toxin that goes into the lungs, your immune system acts and gets rid of that toxin. Then you constantly add the toxin, and then it starts to attack your healthy lung tissue as well. And when this happens, you have damage to your actual lung tissue, which means that the integrity of the walls that line the tissue aren't very good. It's not up to date. And you also have issues where you have a change in the structure of the walls. And so instead of having your lungs being more elastic, which means that they can expand and contract when you breathe in and breathe out, it doesn't do that quite well anymore because you have scarred tissue now over there. Think of if you have a scab on your skin, that scab looks a little bit different to the rest of the skin around you. That same effect happens in your lungs, and so that part of your skin may not work how the rest of your skin normally works. The same happens in your lungs, and so that scar can lead to more hardening of your lungs, and they won't be more elastic and when you are breathing in and breathing out. The other thing that happens is that you start to secrete more mucus into your lungs. Or your airways more specifically. And the reason for this is because you have that integrity that is lost in the walls. And so some proteins are more active than other proteins. And when that happens, you just have lots and lots of mucus from your mucus glands in your lungs that just seep into the airways. And now the importance of the mucus in general is to help you get rid of the toxin. So when you cough and stuff, and that phlegm that comes out is that mucus that you're forming when you are trying to get rid of the toxin. But when there is a dysfunction, so it is a chronic issue where there may not be any toxin at all, that mucus just keeps on producing, and so you may be coughing all the time and coughing up phlegm. And the last thing that happens is that you have fluid that builds up in your lung tissues and can seep into the airways. So you're not getting much oxygen flowing in and out of your airways as well. And the reason for this is because of your immune system response. One of the things that happens when your immune system is actively attacking a toxin is you have more blood flow to the area, so that you have more white blood cells there to help get rid of the toxin. And because there's more blood flow, there's an imbalance between the proteins and the vitamins and the minerals and the salts and the metals and all this nonsense. And what that leads to is more water that is pulled into the area, and that can also just seep into your airways. And so asthma begins to happen when your immune system starts to attack the lungs, if there is or is not any toxin that is present in the lungs at that time. Symptoms differ from person to person because of your environment, as well as some genetic predispositions for asthma. So if you are exposed to a lot of triggers, you may have more severe symptoms, or you may experience symptoms more often, or attacks as well. And if you don't have a lot of exposure and all that, you may not experience many symptoms or attacks. And so symptoms in general would be those such as shortness of breath, chest tightness, a lot of coughing, wheezing, etc. And it generally happens at night or when it is very cold in the mornings as well. And this is just common everyday sort of symptoms that you can experience. An attack is when you have an actual allergic response or a stress response to something that you are exposed to. So for example, if you're allergic to pollen and you have that damage to the lungs that have caused asthma already, when you inhale pollen, you will have that immediate allergic response. And so the shortness of breath, the chest tightness, the coughing, the wheezing, etc. will be enhanced, and it will be mainly a temporary thing that you'll go through until you take medication to try help get rid of that spasm in your lungs. So it all depends on the person, and it depends on the exposure, a bit of genes, and the situation that you're in at that moment. You may be prescribed medication that aims at decreasing inflammation in your lungs that you may take on a daily basis, or whatever your doctor has, however your doctor has prescribed it for you. And the aim for that is to decrease inflammation overall and keep your symptoms and attacks at the bare minimum. But if you are currently having an asthma attack, you may have another type of medication that aims at releasing that spasm that's happening in your lungs, causing that chest tightness and shortness of breath, and allows it to open up and get oxygen in better and so forth. But diet or lifestyle change rather is also a great way to manage asthma. So firstly, you want to eat foods or do things that will decrease inflammation in your body. You don't want your immune system acting at all times, because eventually your immune system will just start doing what it wants, and when it is in that state of chronic inflammation. And so eating healthy, and so no processed foods and all that, sugars, wheat, dairy, etc., may help in decreasing inflammation. Also, if you are allergic to specific things, try avoid them, because those may be causing your asthma attacks. And so trying to get rid of as much exposure as possible to allergens, toxins, environmental stuff like pollution and stuff is also a good idea. And then lastly, physical activity. Yes, exercise. We love exercise. So you want to increase the amount of air that you're breathing in and out with the help of exercise. But also you want to make sure that you're breathing efficiently. So you're not, having shallow breaths, trying to get air, getting nice deep breaths in, nice deep breaths out, and exercising the muscles that can help with that, as well as increasing your endurance, will help you adapt in a better way to use your lungs more efficiently for you. So your general allergens as well as stressful situations can induce an asthma attack or set off the spiraling cascade that can lead to you developing asthma. And these are mainly like smoking or secondhand smoking, air pollution, some foods that you may be sensitive to or that you may not that you may not tolerate. Also, you have situations if you are allergic to some animals, as well as stressful situations. So if you're stressed for an exam or a breakup that you just went through, or a speech that you may have to give, etc., those may all induce an asthma attack. All right, now there's one thing that can also induce an asthma attack, and that is exercise. And you're probably like, how can exercise be a good thing for me but make me get asthma or have an asthma attack? Now, the reason why you may get an asthma attack during exercise is because you're not breathing efficiently, firstly, or you may have some pathology that has already taken place within the lungs. So it kind of is like a stressful situation for you, causing that asthma attack. But overall, exercise is good. I will stress that all the time because it is my profession and I have seen the benefits of it. Prevention is very, very tough because you do not know what you may be sensitive to or allergic to from when you're young. And the problem is that if you are constantly adding that toxin, not knowing that you're sensitive to it, it will constantly cause damage. Now, there are some situations where you can try to get to prevent getting asthma. And for example, that would be knowing what common food sensitivities are or allergens are and limiting your exposure to them, stopping smoking or not smoking at all, and staying away from people who do smoke because you don't want to breathe in that air as well. Also, if you already have asthma, the best ways to prevent an asthma attack is to take your medication correctly as prescribed. Make sure you are decreasing inflammation and limiting the exposure to the things you know you are sensitive to. And that is all that should help. But in general, you want to make sure that you are eating healthy, you are exercising, and you are definitely decreasing stress. Cannot stress enough how much damage stress does to the body. Hey, we have come to the end of this video and I thank you for giving it a watch. Do like if you did enjoy it, share it, spread the word, let other people know how asthma can affect them, and subscribe to my channel if you are new to my channel and you have not done so before. I hope you guys do have a great week. Stay safe.